flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, we got everybody on board tonight. Got a quorum. No changes on the agenda tonight, Brenton. I didn't hear from anybody, so I'm assuming we're good to go. All right. So I'll look from the council to accept.
I'll just second that.
Jeff and Naomi. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, consent agenda. Anything on there that's changed, guys? Any questions on it? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to accept. Okay. Chelsea makes a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Does a second? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Anything on the council minutes from last time? Missed thing, or are we good? Didn't see anything on there, but that we might have missed. It all looked good. Look for a motion to accept. Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Who's getting the feedback here? Okay, did I get a second? I'm sorry, the phone was going off.
Aye.
Okay, great. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, public comment. Anybody got anything you want to chit chat? Go ahead. Come on up here a little bit and so I can pick you up.
I think so. Yeah. Sorry.
Who's got their mic on? So-
Probably. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
I just had a quick question. I've had some communication status of general. Would it be call them and if they can get something?
I don't know. I mean, we kind of left it in their hands to get back with us. I mean, Lucas, I mean, do you want to, we can try and see? I just know they've gotten, with the turnover they've had there, they're trying to get back online with stuff. So, I mean,
I do recognize that.
Yeah, and I knew you would, and so it is one of those things where I have been trying to just give it time. And I did let them know that there was a time constraint on this, so they do know. I can shoot an email to them.
Okay.
And see if they respond. But I do think that what's going on is they're trying to.
And I do recognize they've had a difficult time there, so, but if you could, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
That was it. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay, anybody got anything else? Yep, Mark, go ahead.
Just wanted to bring your attention, I guess, something that I've been trying to get to the bottom of for a long time is how many lots we have platted and how many homes are built. I just got the recent Horace happenings, and I'm not sure if numbers in some of these publications, I've noticed a disturbing trend. It's Horace happenings. It's the Fargo West Moorhead Chamber of Commerce magazine, Bridge. I'll give you some examples, but there's some, and I'm not sure if it's purposely misleading or just bad math or what's going on. But according to the January 2022 issue of the Bridge magazine, 956 lots have been platted in the last 24 months. Okay. And it says 285 permits have been issued in 2021.
Can you repeat that?
In the Bridge magazine, it said 956 lots were platted in the last 24 months. And 285 permits were issued in 2021. So, I mean, I did some research on this. In the latest Horace happenings, okay, it says 194 permits were issued in 2020, which is factual, but it's misleading because that's not necessarily new homes. I mean, people putting decks on their house isn't really indicative of new growth, right? 2021, 444 permits. Again, The number's probably accurate for all permits for everything from a deck to siding to whatever. But according to the city website, 2020, 86 of these were new homes in 2020. In 2021, 283 were new homes. I think everybody sees where the economy is going. We have inflation. We've been kind of protected by a bubble, but we're sitting on a huge inventory of lots if any of these numbers are to be trusted. The other thing that said in the Horace happenings that I'm not sure where this number comes from, but we have 3,000 residents. But it says we've had 700% population growth since 2016. That doesn't seem to add up. I mean, if we had 1,000 residents in 2016, we'd be over 7,000, right? I mean, unless my math is up or, but I'm kind of curious where that number comes from as well. Like I say, I mean, I'm not disputing that we're a fast growing city, but I think we need to be on top of these statistics. We need to be sure numbers being reported are factual and actual and not misleading for the public. So, that's all I had.
Okay, anybody got anything else?
Hi.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you for finally getting something done with the Wall Road out there. But why does it take all this time to get that done? Why wasn't something done last week? You can't travel on that road when it's like that. I don't understand why it goes so long and there's no maintenance on that road.
Adam, you want to explain a little bit why we didn't get it last week?
A lot of why we didn't hit it last week was due to a couple of reasons. One, frost still in the ground, all the moisture by the bridge that's coming off of it. Do it too soon. All I do is I turn the top 6 inches or more into just total slop, where cars can't even drive through at that point. And major reason it didn't happen was because all my guys, I'm down one guy out for surgery, and everybody else, we were dealing with the water issues. Trying to get
I think
everything to
day and
drain.
age, to drive on the road like we had last week is just inexcusable. I mean, that is just ridiculous. And doesn't seem to matter what, there's always reasons or excuses. It seems like it for it. And my dad bladed roads for over 30 years in Douglas County. And he was always out there in the spring of the year working on the roads with the road grader. I don't understand what the process is.
Earlier areas, yes, out in open areas, it's a lot easier. We're at there with the river, with the bridge, all the trees there. It really limits how fast the frost comes out of the ground. So it's a lot more different than open country grading.
That road's been a problem forever because of the situation with the way
Yeah,
that.
but maintenance is, all the other things they're saying they're gonna do with the road is fine. I don't do it whenever, but in the meantime, we need maintenance on that road.
Okay, but you understand last year, we didn't own that road.
I
Okay?
understand.
Until this fall, now we own the road. We'll try and work for more maintenance on it this year to try and keep it in condition, but there's an awful lot of traffic on that road.
Oh,
Okay?
tell me about it.
So, all right, so we got to work through it. Everybody's gonna have to be a little patient while we get this road done. Everybody's been complaining about it for the last 2-3 years, and I totally get it. There's only so much that we could do, being we didn't own the road. Now that we do, we're gonna try and maintain it, but again, we have some constraints that we have to work with it. Maybe now we can get on it a little bit more when that frost is
But
gone.
with the increased traffic and as much traffic as on that road, it needs to be maintained more often, or you can have that road beat up so bad you can't drive on it.
Okay, well, what do you want me to do? I can't have somebody out there every day scratching that road. It's not gonna happen. That's not realistic, okay?
It hasn't been every day.
We'll keep maintaining that road like we can. I mean, Adam, I don't know how often you guys can get out there, but we are gonna try and maintain it. But the fact is, we are gonna try and get that road in much better condition when we get it paved, okay? But in the meantime, there's some pain that we're gonna have to go through with that road. It's not set up to handle this type of traffic. We try and maintain it as best we can. I get it. I've heard this for the last 3 years now. But we are trying to make sure that we can get through the season. And
I
hopefully
think
get this
more,
thing done.
maintaining more often would help, rather than.
I
just
have,
getting it
I
beat
do
up.
have a certain amount of staff that I have to work with as well. We can't just spend every morning on that road. You know, I gotta give, there's a give and take we have to do here. We'll try and keep the road maintained. Don't get me wrong, but just gotta be realistic with expectations too.
Seems ridiculous to me.
Okay, anybody got anything else? All right, we'll move on. Okay, Jim, you got 8. Oh, wait, no, I know somebody from the sheriff's department here. They'll be here next go around, so we'll move on to 8. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay. Water Sewer Storm and Street Improvement District number 2021-5 is Airwood Third Edition. Airwood Third Edition is located south of Little Court, west of County Road 17 and north of Liberty Lane. We've talked about this one for quite a bit. Tonight, all we're doing is approving compliance and specifications and authorizing the auditor to advertise for bids. I did send out a memo last week that had the schedule on it, so we approved plans tonight to be in the paper on the 30th and April 6th. Open bids are on the 14th of April or the 14th of April, or the project at the April 18th City Council meeting. So the opinion of probable bid cost is a little over $1 million, 1.1 exactly. So, and then I did provide you with a copy of the kind of scope of worksheet to show the area of improvements.
Okay. Anybody got any questions on this one? What we're doing?
I think we've talked about this one quite a bit.
Yep. We have. Sarah, you got any questions on this one?
Not right now, thank you.
Jim, you want us to do both at the same time?
You can.
Okay, is that all right, Lucas? So let's do
Yeah,
A and
just
B.
so the council knows, we already have the signed ID agreement and letter of credit for this project.
I'll make a motion to approving the plans and specs and directing the auditor to advertise for bids for the district number 20-5.
All right, so we got a motion on the table for
Second.
A and B. Jeff does a second. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, everybody's in on that one. Good. Okay, we'll move on to 9.
9 is Water Sewer Storm and Street Improvement District number 2022-6, Southdale Farms 5th Edition. New Horizon Homes is petitioned for permission. This is located directly east of the Southdale Farms 1st Edition along west of 66th Street, northeast of the Edelman Edition. Access to the edition is off of 70th Avenue currently and will be off of 66th Street when the time comes. This is, first thing we have is the preliminary engineering report. The same as usual, talks about the existing conditions, the proposed improvements, methodology for special assessments, approvals, permits, and the preliminary cost estimate. So for this project, it is construction of 34 single-family residences. Project is all local for funding, so it's all water, sewer, storm is all just local, no regional. The opinion of probable cost is $1.875 million and special assessed to the benefiting areas. There is some attachments with the report that talk about the typical street section, the potential assessments, the plat, the petition for improvements that was accepted by the city council in the past. So what our recommendation for this would be to approve the engineering report and direct the engineer to prepare detailed plans and specifications.
Lucas, you want to do these one at a time then?
Yeah.
Why don't we do that? Let's do A or A on that one.
This is your typical 70-foot wide streets. 70-foot wide, yes, local street.
Okay. Any other questions on this one?
That's right, Jeff, that's not street width. Street width is about 30.
Similar to Ed Blake's, right?
Yeah. Similar to, consistent with the Southdale Farms positions.
It's difficult, I don't know. I drive down some of these roads and you get a car parking on each side and there's literally one lane in the middle that you can travel on. Are we gonna put up no parking signs or how is this going to work?
So we've been addressing no parking signs based on street width. So with the 30-foot wide streets, there's been no parking, new additions. We haven't tackled the existing or the old parts of Horace as far as no parking, but as the new additions go in, as with the initial improvements, the no parking signs go up at that time. So we have,
Make sure that.
yep, and we have done a couple differently because the street widths have varied on Lost River 7. There was some wider sections where we allowed parking on one side, and there's another part of Lost River 7 where there's driveways are too close together on the one side of the road, so that's no parking, and then there's parking on the opposite side of the street.
So the 30 doesn't allow any parking on the street.
You end up weaving through, and if you get cars parked on both
How do you
sides.
not ever park on the street?
It gets to be the biggest problem when they're building houses.
That's what I'm getting at.
When you have trailers strung out. when you
Well, even
have
still,
all
I
that.
mean,
It doesn't,
You can drive down my road.
it doesn't appear to be as bad once it's built out.
yeah, so I mean, it'll be, obviously, somebody has a party, they have a few cars, and then it's over.
It does.
They'll still park on the street.
So as part of that, to address that, well, I shouldn't say that. We talked about this before in the past. And with R6 zoning, a standard driveway can go up to 30 feet wide, except for R6. R6, the width of the driveway is half of the lot size. And that was when you had 42-foot lots. 30-foot driveway, there was absolutely nowhere to park. It was all driveways. So the city changed that to half the lot, which would be 20 feet wide for your driveway to allow for a little bit more gaps between driveways. It's not one continuous sea of concrete or driveways.
So that still doesn't address the,
No, it doesn't. No, I was just talking about how it's been addressed
Sure.
in the past with having some ability to park on there or not. But parking has gotten quite a bit worse, especially on the narrower streets. So I think that there's going to be a global parking. I don't know what you want to call it.
So we're tell contractors right now, before they even start building, is there any advice given to them? Because I feel bad for him, of all people, having to plow roads. Granted, it's mostly over now, but I don't know how he does his job. I'm being brutally honest.
So there are signs in both south of town and north of town say no parking on city streets. That hasn't been enough to by the sheriff's department. That's why we're taking the next step into those subdivisions and signing them as no parking so they can be in. That's where it gets to be kind of sticky.
So Lucas and I have been working with the sheriff's department. We met with Sheriff Johnner here weeks ago, maybe, to discuss what changes to the ordinances need to occur for the sheriff's department to comfortably enforce what we're asking them to do. So we've been going through that. Their staff has been reviewing what they would like to see. Lucas and I have been working with each other on that too. And then also working up what makes sense for even like the older parts of the course, what makes sense to have no parking on either. Is it both sides, one side, based on street width, and what is most practical? That is a project that we've been working on, and we plan on bringing to council when it's ready. So, but that's our new developments going to talk about is, yeah, we're working on getting those signed as part of the installation of the developments, but some of the other ones haven't been signed right off the bat.
I mean, some of the mailbox clusters, are they all on one side of the road or are they on each side of the road?
Depending upon the route that the post office takes.
well, there's
Try
just
to
the
keep
cluster
them on
boxes.
one side.
Yeah, they tried.
So they're not gonna
It's-
be,
I'm just trying to, if we keep them on one side, then maybe we can allow parking on the other side of the street at some point, just one side of the park of this. But I know right now, during construction of all these different developments, it's gonna be tough.
Well, take a standard 40-foot lot subdivision per 50-foot lot. Every one of them is probably gonna have a driveway in the same spot across from each other, which is gonna leave you nowhere to park. Understood. Either way. So you just
Well,
think about that too.
I think not allowing cars to park on the street is not a bad thing in general, like for long periods, because, you know, it is nicer when you have clean looking streets. Obviously, if somebody has extra cars that are parked on there temporarily, I think that would be a deterrent that if this street wasn't wide enough to do that, you know, I would say that's not realistic. But then when you get these packed in developments and then there's no place for people to go, I mean, if their driveways are so short or something, You know, I don't know what the answer is in those areas. It seems like having street parking might be necessary. If they don't have enough room in their driveway, but
Then like we said, we get back into the, is there really even feasibly any
well,
parking
if the
there?
driveway is, if you have to go next to your neighbor so that it keeps a bigger gap or something.
It's just stuff to keep in mind for the future.
Right, and I mean, we've talked about this in the past too. You shift one driveway to the south of the lot, the next one to the
Yeah.
north of the lot to try to make a bigger area between the two driveways. Then it gets to, the house doesn't fit on that
Yeah,
40-foot lot because the driveway's supposed to be on.
well, maybe the lot is too small then.
Okay, yeah, you're good for me on that.
I don't know.
I didn't mean to sidetrack. Looked like your standard mess that he has to deal with.
Okay, so we'll look at one here, review and approve the preliminary engineering report.
I'll make a motion to approve the engineering report.
Chelsea makes a motion. Can I get a second? Anyone? Okay, Shelby does a second. All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Everybody, so we can do B and C together. You got any questions on that?
C is the standard pay services agreement contract one. Last one, this is a modification of Southdale Farms 4th edition. Plan is to tie this with the 4th edition so that the 4th and 5th editions would be constructed under the same project, they'd be separate. We keep them cleaner and we get it done a little bit quicker. And we only have to prepare one set of specifications for the two projects by tying them together. And since they're close in proximity, this makes more sense. Separate projects.
So you're gonna want that 5th edition done right away anyway, so.
Sure, looks so.
So you're looking to combine B and C?
Yep, B and C will combine.
Motion to, create the engineer prepare detailed plans and specifications. Here's the agreement. Southdale Farms. Like 5th edition, project number 6.
Sounds good.
Second.
Second from Chelsea.
4th edition, all right? 5th, oh yeah.
Okay. All right, so I got a motion from Jeff, second from Chelsea. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, that's everyone. Motion carries. Okay, let's go on to 10.
Okay. Water Sewer Storm and Street Improvement District number 2022-2 is lost in 7th edition. It's same as what they're just a continuation of residential subdivision located south of the 5th edition, east of the Cheyenne diversion and north of the Cheyenne River. As you can see here on the scope of worksheet, it's all local improvements. Wait, lots on this one. 80 or so lots, but all local improvements. The schedule for this one would be the same as Arrowwood 3rd, so we approved final specs today. Advertised in the paper on the 30th and April 6th, open bids on the 14th, work the project on the 18th, and the completion date of November 2022. Probable cost for this one is $2.372 million. So recommendation here would be to approve the plan specifications and direct the auditor to advertise for bids.
I'm gonna combine them. It's the same thing, so. Anybody got any more questions on this one? Donald, please. Or so.
We're good with, like, well, having the project moving forward with this project at the same, is that anybody's concern?
They would have to come in on 81st Street. So the way the plans are, the way the specifications are, is you come off County Road 6, down 81st, and you come in that way. You don't use wall,
The west side, yeah.
the west side of the wall.
Industrial contractors are aware of that.
It's in the bid documents.
Yeah, they'd be given the truck route that they're supposed to take.
They're not gonna
wall
want to do construction anyway.
With the wall construction, they would be detoured anyway, it's that direction.
Yep. Okay, any other questions? Otherwise, I'm gonna look for a motion to accept.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, gonna get a second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Motion carried. All right, number 11. I guess you got that one.
Mr. Mayor, this one is just the improvement district agreement for Lost River 7th edition. This agreement has been presented to the developer for review and comment. The only revision that they requested is to verify the land dedication, section 12. Other than that, it's a standard, it's the city's standard ID agreement. The important sections, note section 12. For this one, the city council approved that payment in lieu of land dedication for all of Lost River previously, so there's no new payment in lieu of land dedication or park dedication. Water service will be provided by Cass Rural. Wastewater will go to lift station number 8 and then conveyed eventually to the city of Fargo. Storm sewer service will be provided or will flow to lot 14, block 3, Lost River 5th edition, which is owned and maintained by the developer. And then the letter of credit required for this project. Last fall, the city council agreed to reduce the percentage to 65%. And that's excluding soft costs such as engineering, legal, admin, and bonding costs. So the letter of credit has to be in the amount of $1,696,000. $1,696,175. So we'll wait until the developer executes this and provides a letter of credit before the city proceeds with awarding the bid.
Any questions for Lucas on this one?
You said we're gonna wait. What do you want for action then?
To approve
the agreement.
So the city will approve the ID agreement. And then, so the reason I say that is because I don't want the city to award construction without having that letter of credit. Just to let you guys know.
Which is what we've done in the past.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna look for a motion to accept the improvement district agreement. Lost River 7. Okay, Jeff makes a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Chelsea makes a second. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, motion carries. Brent, you got this one or Adam?
It'll be Adam and I together.
Yeah.
Our PowerPoint. So far done, so.
It won't discover any devices now, but just keep the
Okay, I will try to go with it, what I have there, then you have the computers there, we can pull it up there. Basically what this is for purchase of a dump truck snowplow purchase. If you recall, last year, towards the end of last year, we did a budget amendment and we put quite a bit of money into the equipment reserve in order to purchase a new tractor and also purchase a new dump truck snowplow. We're proposing, this would be a tandem axle 2024 snowplow dump truck setup. This would be very similar to what you see the North Dakota DOT use on the highways. What I recommend to council is to finance it over a 5-year period of time. The funds, we have majority of those funds already set aside in equipment reserve, but we don't have enough funds set aside to just pay for it straight up like we did the tractor. So when we had the tractor purchase, we recommended just pay for that straight up. This one, we want to keep some flexibility in our equipment reserve, so we're recommending that we pay that through financing. We pay in arrears, so by that, it would mean that we'd pay for it at the end of the first year. Once we get the truck delivered to us, at the end of that first year is when the payment would be made of owning that truck. And then at that point too, if we're in a better situation, we have more money in equipment reserve, we could just pay it all off. Or it might be 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, and come back to council and say, council, would you like to just pay this off or continue to pay it for the financed approach? So, Adam could talk about the details on the truck there. He had some different costs spec'd out for it. I'd say it was a tandem axle, but he could expand on that.
I'll just start. Do you guys have any specific questions?
Yeah.
The single versus the tandem axle, they were calling Santa back or something.
Tandem, both options of this is the tandem.
Oh, pictures of single.
I was just got some stock pictures of
Okay.
That means you don't have a box.
Yep, so when you buy the truck, we buy the truck and the chassis, that first picture you see without the box. We buy that from International, and then it goes to a separate contractor, in this case it'd be Bert's in Moorhead. They do all the upfitting of the box, the plow, the wing, sander, all of that.
That would be separate.
Yep.
The bills. Then. What's a live bottom?
So a live bottom box is basically what the county uses, North Dakota DOT, Minnesota. So when you're driving down the road putting sand down, there's a control at the bottom of the truck that's actually moving the sand back, so you don't have to have the box raised. Current configurations that we have to have the box up to go down the highway, and it's not that big of a safety concern when you're doing straight line runs and whatnot, as long as it's not super windy. But with the roundabouts that are going in, it's a bit of a concern. Guys running 11 hours, coming into that with the box in the air. That's why I'm proposing to go with the live bottom, so we don't have that safety concern.
Just include a spreader off the back of the truck.
Yep. It's in the Bert's bid. So the big breakdown is if we do every option like I have listed, it's $262,000 for the whole truck. If you want to go with a more stripped down version, then it's going to be $232,000. Kind of the nuts and bolts of it.
I don't really want to go, if we strip it down, we're gonna wind up going back and bringing in the stuff later. It's just gonna cost us more money to retro it up, so.
Yeah.
Do it right the first time.
And doing it, adding the underbelly scraper, that gives us some added flexibility. I kind of put it in there, so if it was something that you guys didn't feel comfortable spending that much, that would be what we would cut out, but it adds the flexibility. This truck is primarily going to be used for bigger areas. So once County 17 gets turned over to us, and frankly, most of the time now we do the initial plowing of 17 anyway. It'll be primarily used for 17 and then major arterial roads. And then during snow emergencies, when all we're doing is keeping snow emergency roads cleared, that's what the.
So you're looking for, like, as a council, the truck options and accessory options, are we?
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you're
It's
looking.
coming from two separate places.
Oh, I got you.
So you have to buy it from Nelson's, the truck, and then the, accessories and everything in the underbelly, everything, all those parts, come from Burns.
Okay.
It is a little confusing.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
installed, Chris.
Yeah, I guess my opinion would be to get the side plow or whatever to have everything you guys need to do a good job.
The wing is on board.
Yeah, okay, the underbody. Okay. So the specific use for the underbody is,
It really helps with, like when you're taking corners, if you have, with the front blade down and the wing down, when you take a corner, it leaves a gap in the middle. If you have that blade in the middle, you'll clear the whole corner. And then its real great function is during ice storms, or just like, if an area gets really heavily packed with snow, that's something you can go out and just really break the ice up and get it off the road. You don't have to try and melt a 2-inch thick layer of ice. You can just break it up and get it off the road faster.
The underbody uses downward pressure. It's the only blade on the snowplow that uses downward pressure.
Everything else
relies on the weight, wing.
gotcha.
There's really no downward pressure on the wing.
A little bit.
But you use the weight of the truck to get underneath.
Do we have that on the other trucks or?
The current tandem does, it's not functional.
So no then?
No.
Well, I guess I still feel like if that's something you guys feel is important, then I would go with that.
What's the pros of having a reversible underbody scraper versus a fixed one? I guess if they're both under
It basically just gives us a little more added flexibility in what we do and where we do it.
Like-
One of the biggest, in my eyes, the biggest perk of going to a reversible is for installing new blades on it. And that you can turn it sideways, so you don't have to be crawling all the way underneath the truck to replace the blade. It's a lot safer to be able to do it that way.
Safer maintenance on.
Yeah, a lot safer on the maintenance side. But it does give us that flexibility where if for some reason with a reversible plow, something that we have to clear one side of the street, but beyond that side, then we can do it on the other side we have, instead of just driving.
Question. Yeah.
Okay, so what are you looking specifically for a motion from us on, there's not, no, specifically, you want us to approve financing, or what are you looking for us to approve?
Be motion to purchase this truck with the underbelly scraper as proposed from staff. I would recommend, he has the price at just hair over 262,000. I would just say 265, not to exceed. That way, be able to handle costs if we had any other investments like a light or something. Be very able to handle that.
Then go the finance route.
And then finance it for 5 years.
Cash flow on it.
Yeah. I said, if you'd like us, if we're in a position where we could pay it off earlier, then I'd come back to council and say, hey, we can pay it off earlier. But right now, we don't have that much in the equipment reserve. We have about 200,000 for this. So we're about 60,000, 65,000 short.
Martin, you got a question?
Yeah. Thank you. 2 questions. Lease versus buy is cheaper. Are there bids? Is this the only bid, or are there 2?
So leasing, their setup, typically leasing would be like a payment, like you go do a payment for a vehicle. And then buying straight up, we do get them at state contract pricing. And then also we're part of a cooperative called Sourcewell. So we compare with like Nelson's or whoever we're buying equipment from. We'll have them compare both of them and see what is the most advantageous for the city. So we'll price that out and go, okay, the Sourcewell, like our road grader, I think it was, we bought that through Sourcewell contract pricing, not the state. So we got a better price right there. But if we buy them straight up, buy them either financed or straight up, we own that asset and we're buying it. We're able to flip them earlier if we want to, where a lot of times like the how big of a discount we get from government pricing, you're able to drive them a few years before you need to flip them. So it gives us the option to do that. Plus we're not in debt to anybody if we have like a lease where if something happens to the truck, we have that dynamic going.
Is the bidding process built into that then?
The bidding process, state does their own. They go through the formal bidding process, and so does Sourcewell. So they go through a competitive process. And then what that does is they'll say, okay, you can get this truck with these different accessories or add them on, but it's all been bid out. So it makes it a lot easier for us where in all communities across state where we don't have to go and do a bidding process and try to get each of these equipment dealers to bid it for us every single time because they would be bombarded.
Brenton, can I jump in on that one quickly?
Yep, go ahead.
I'm not sure if Martin can hear me, but I want to assure him that Sourcewell does go through a very competitive bidding process. And I'm familiar with that because I have been one of the bidders in my former life for that particular program. And government buying has significant advantages over any other type of buying. So I want to give you some assurance that not only do they get the minimum number of bids, but they kind of go over the top with it. So you're definitely assured the best value, the best bang for your buck. We can provide some additional information if you'd like to see that, but feel free to look up their process because it is rigorous and it is very stringent.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike. For
Yep.
Okay, anything else? This one, guys? Okay, I'm gonna look for a motion to accept this. 265K.
Up to 265.
With
Finance
just
it.
finance it.
Are you guys gonna let me make a motion one of these times? Cause this is one of my babies here. I've been feeling pretty strongly about getting some equipment and I'm very pleased with the direction we've gone on this.
Go right ahead.
I'll make that motion.
Got it. Okay, Sarah finally got to make a motion. Can I get a second? Okay, second from Jeff. Being we're spending some money, I'll roll call it. Naomi?
Yeah.
Chelsea?
Yes.
Jeff? And Sarah?
Yes.
All right. Go. Hey, Jim, you got the engineering side of this?
All right, Mr. Mayor, Council. First thing I have is Chestnut Ironwood. We have a public information meeting scheduled for next Thursday evening. Notices should go out tomorrow for that, to get a little input from those residents and try to keep that moving. And the project, what's that?
24th and 31st.
31st. Chestnut Ironwood neighborhood and Chestnut neighborhood, so the streets in that area are not in the best of shape. A rehab project was proposed in 2017, 2018. It was shot down by the neighborhood, so we're coming back. Yes. And
Posted everything that happens. I'll be there.
sure. And so we've toned it back to more of a rehabilitation project versus a replacement project, and we're going to garner some interest from the county, for the residents, just to see what they have for comments, or we officially move forward than what we are.
So we sent out like a letter.
It'll go out tomorrow morning.
Okay.
What time is that meeting?
We're gonna start, so we're gonna do it at 5:30, will be when it starts. The short program will be around 6. Then we're gonna have questions and answers until about 6:45 or 7-ish.
How many of us can be here?
I won't be here.
Is Sarah gonna be back?
I am coming back on Friday.
Okay.
But I'm very, very interested in this project. I understand there's some history with this neighborhood. I had an opportunity to speak to several of the residents and I frequent that neighborhood as one of my routes to the west for my running. And so I'm very interested in what we're proposing as a rehab option for them. I'd like to see some cost feasibility and I want to see the extent of that. I recall seeing a preliminary map and I'm not sure if we are still going that route or if there have been some changes made in my absence. Jim, maybe you can help me understand from a distance here.
I'll send you the
You cut out for that. Say it one more time.
I said that I'll send you where we're at with this work. I don't remember which one you saw last.
10-4, thank you.
If there is interest from the council members who attend, please let me know. Because if we do have a quorum, then I just notify the forum. So it's not a big deal. It's one of those that we can do. I just need to make sure we notify them if we're right at the forum there. So.
Can you make sure at that meeting, are you guys gonna talk about? I, as well as Sarah, have had some opportunities to visit these folks over there and they're under the impression that the road was never built correctly or it wasn't finished.
We can't find any evidence of that.
Okay,
We're going on with the past is in the past. We're moving forward.
I'm just letting you know that there might be some conversations about
yeah.
that.
I said.
And I told them that I was not aware of the history of all of that, so.
There's a lot of opinions as to what was done in the past, and we're just gonna have to put our foot down and say we're moving forward with it, I think.
Well, unless we can find how that.
And I've gone through the files, and the project was accepted by the city. Can't find anything that it wasn't, so.
Like, it was completely finished, so.
Yeah. Yes.
Because there's, some posts out there as well that happened today talking about the roads, so I just want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence to make sure we have answers for them.
Okay, the next thing on my list is 2023 transportation alternative grants. Those we have received the funding for the phase 3 of County Road 17 and then our Center Avenue multimodal project. We were contacted by the DOT last week about updating our cost estimates. The construction world is seeing some inflation in it.
Gee, I wonder
And
why.
they wanted to make sure that we had an updated estimate for that so that they could take that into account. And then we're talking about bid openings for next year. So right now it's tentatively scheduled for February of 2023, for construction in 2023, but I'm hoping that we can get that maybe more of an April. That's what we're doing with this phase 2, because we're opening bids in the first week in April, but I don't think the DOT's projected their bid opening dates out that far into 2023 yet, but we do have to put our spot on their bid openings, so.
Okay.
And then the last thing is we talked a little bit about Wall Avenue earlier. We're still working on some right of way on the west side of the road. Lucas had got in contact with Fraser out of Bismarck. I have to call him back yet. He had some questions for me, so we are actively pushing on that. And then, like the horse happening said, the design's about 80% complete on the east side, and we're not as far along on the west side, just due to the timing of the annexation and that. So we're still pushing for a summer start on that.
Okay, we're gonna have a public, just a
We already
presentation.
have. Yeah, we did the public input meeting on there. If you want to do something else
I think, well, I didn't know.
at some point,
Yeah, okay.
we sure can.
It probably wouldn't hurt till we could get the designs posted out there so people can
Yeah.
see what when we get that a little further, and you see that what we're coming down on.
Yep. And then you've probably seen some equipment moving around the past week. Snow's going away, but the frost is still there, so everything I've heard as far as construction is gonna be middle of April-ish, beginning to middle of April in a perfect world, so.
They're trying to get equipment marshaled before the road restrictions go up, so.
Yes, exactly. So that's where we're sitting on that, and that's all I have for you. Let's see questions.
Anything else on the vault? Everything done?
Just a while. Nothing more since last time.
Sarah, do you have any questions for Jim?
Not specific for Jim. I had more questions for our Public Works Department. Adam, do we have anything regarding, road restriction signs that go up in the spring?
The only ones we have are already up. They stay up here.
That's just the ones that we leave up. We don't add anything additional to them?
No,
Right.
Okay. All right. That's all I want to know. Thank you.
We pretty much enforce it. We really don't take a date off on road restrictions. The road is the most concern for road restrictions is Wall Avenue, and we keep that posted year round. So technically, when somebody goes on Wall Avenue in the middle of December, they're supposed to have a permit. So.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, then we'll go, Brent, what do you got?
Okay. City Hall remodel update, flooring, doors are in. They were working on the trim around the doors and trim on the floor, and transition pieces. I was told by the company there, or by Meridian, that, plumbing should be going in here today or tomorrow. I did not get a chance to stop by there today, but the pictures I saw didn't look like they had installed plumbing yet. So they are doing that this week. And Chelsea, I know you mentioned about a walkthrough coming up, so they'll be doing a walkthrough on that pretty soon.
Yeah, the punch list is scheduled for Thursday, so sometimes contractors will schedule the punch list when it's not ready, so hopefully that's not the case.
They never do that.
We are working with Christensen's to see if we get some of our furniture that we do have moved in the areas that are complete, or basically complete, where they work around the furniture. So we are working with them to be able to possibly get some of that put in this weekend. So we're hoping to be able to do that. And then the next item I had is introduce Jay Solomon. He is our new community development director. He started last Monday. We hit you with the fire hose quite a bit there of all the different things going on, but we did have Brent Moore from Interstate Engineering and a lot of the staff over at Interstate. They're able to update them just on everything going on from what they've seen. I sat down with them and He's been able to sit down with Russ, our planning commission chair. So that's good. He's getting his feet on the ground, getting familiar with Horace. So happy that Jason's here now.
Welcome to the club. Thank you. Glad you're here.
And Jason came from a community that has a similar situation to, which is
Yes.
awesome.
Yep. Suburb Boise has had rapid growth. So, yep.
Okay. That's it then, right?
Yep.
Okay. Under portfolio reports, see, March 28th, 29th, we'll be out at League of Cities deal. Be attending a board meeting out there, and I present on the 29th. And, so got that. Got a few meetings coming up here this week. I'll be meeting some different folks. Yeah, that's about it. Sarah, you got anything you want to add in?
Nope, just looking forward to getting back. I do have some meetings with legislators when I get back and looking forward to catching up. It's a little bit of a wild ride down here this time, so looking forward to things calming down and being able to spend some time at home now. That's all I've got.
Well, have a safe trip back.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Naomi. Okay. Chelsea?
I was thinking about, what Martin had brought up about the lot counts, and if you are gonna like look at some numbers, when the lots sell to the home builders, the developer can adjust the line of credit, correct? So that affects, right?
The house, there has to be a house built.
When it's, basically, when you start seeing the being framed, that's when you consider it at the point where you can drop off for letter of credit.
Okay, so, but the lot is
Just-
sold already.
Even if if the lot is sold to a builder, the developer still has the letter of credit on it until the actual physical structure is being built, the house, so the foundation and the walls are being framed, so they still are on the hook on the letter of credit until
Okay,
that point.
but as far as city's liability though, once the lot is sold, it's not,
Once the lot is sold, you know, it does spread the risk liability when you sell it to the builder. But then also when they're building, when that house is done, then it spreads the risk even more because it's going to the homeowners.
yeah.
But the city maintains its security until the
Sure.
house is actually built.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because otherwise they'll just sell them, transfer them, do whatever.
But somebody
Or
else
a
is
building
paying
to
that
build.
payment on that
Yeah.
special,
Yeah,
the
but the city
buyer.
still wants the house
Yeah.
actually being.
But it does
constructed
relieve
on
the
it.
city of liability, some liability when the lots get sold to the home builders and it's out of the developer's pocket.
It does spread it.
They could still file for bankruptcy or something, you know. That builder could,
Yeah,
and then you're stuck with the lot. That's why the city wants that house being constructed on it, so at least then you have more value tied to that property.
sure.
A lot of times what you'll see is a developer will have in their covenants requiring that once the lot is sold, it's built on within a certain amount of time. That's common to see. Not every development is done that way, but that's in the covenant. Also, a developer can only ask to reduce their letter of credit twice a year, every 6 months. So it's not once every house is built, they can reduce it. It's only twice a year. Most developers just do it annually. Just do it once a year. Because their letter of credit, they have to buy it for the year. And they incur costs every time they go and purchase that letter of credit. The letter of credit is costing them about 2 to 3% of whatever the amount is for, is what it costs them each year to get that.
Thank you.
Okay, Jeff, what do you got?
Not much besides the regular, venture project meetings. I did, let Brent know that, I did have interactions with Google Maps, MapQuest, Microsoft Maps. When we do a development like we did for Maple Lakes, you have that second entrance. It becomes the primary entrance for most construction. Those applications then consider that as the primary entrance, and we still have a very large number of heavy equipment moving up and down our road because they haven't updated their maps yet. So I did contact them to update their maps. They said it's gonna take at least 6 months to do that. Just so you're aware, but for the future, when you're planning on developments and second entrances, keep that in mind because it still has all the traffic flowing to whatever entrance is considered available for you. So right now we have still a very large number of semis and dump trucks that come down our road every day just to find out the road is closed and turn around, which actually doubles traffic. So you're aware.
And one thing Jeff and I did talk about is getting some, like, signs saying no trucks. Obviously can't put them in until the ground thaws out, but once the ground thaws out, then we can get some no truck signs on 72nd. Hopefully that would help deter them.
Yep.
Also, so, at least saying no through truck traffic.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay. Yes.
I just have a question. What kind of punishment is them for those truck drivers if they just ignore those signs? Because that's how the bridge up there in North Fargo, the Minnesota collapsed. They actually just ignored it. The truck drivers didn't want to turn around and go back through the way the DOT told them to. So they just kept driving over onto Broadway, and that's the reason that bridge gave up. So I'm just wondering about, you know, if you have signs up and stuff like that, is there repercussions if they ignore them going into a neighborhood and stuff?
Right now, there's no signs to prevent them from driving down 72nd. There's only barricades preventing them from going across 104th. Some vehicles have gone around the barricades on 104th, and at some point I'll probably ask Adam to put up a third barricade on each side. Prevent yard damage to the residents on either the north or south side of that road. But you would have to have the sheriff either catch them in the act or somebody set up a game cam and videotape it, them going around barricades.
So we do encourage the truck reg, deputies for enforcement to come to Horace. Encourage that. If somebody is pulled over and they are overweight or without a permit, the fines are very, very steep. They're some of the steepest traffic related fines in the state. It's related to that. I have heard of some situations where folks have gotten $10,000 to $20,000 fines. I heard of one out by Castleton, it was around 17,000. I believe not last year, year before, we had one that was around $4,000 or $5,000 here. That just overweight dump truck and going on the road restrictions and stuff. So we encourage them to come down. Once they're down in the area, I know that the word gets out really quick. Everybody behaves really quick for the day. But like I said, we'd love to have them down here as much as possible.
Yeah, it's very hard to enforce that, so.
And I happen to sit next to the officer that does the truck enforcement, swimming lessons. And he's spread pretty thin, just because of the shortness of staff that the sheriff's department has right now. So it's not very often that he gets the opportunity to come down here very much.
Yeah. No, I just don't want to see something like that happen again. So I was just wondering, something to bring up.
Yep. Anything else?
That's it. I will make a motion to adjourn.
Jeff makes a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Don't get a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.